Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm cooking up a traditional Filipino stew in a crock pot. Sinigang, or a salty sour soup, is one of my favorite comfort foods, especially when I'm sick. And this week, everyone in my household has fallen ill. And also, I live in a city where traditional Filipino ingredients aren't always readily available. So I'm going to walk you through the different substitutions you can use if this is what you want to make, but you can't find the ingredients. There are 3 things you need for a good sinigang: a good broth, some meat, and some vegetables. The trick to the broth is it has to be both salty and sour. For the salt, I traditionally use fish sauce or patis, but you can also just use salt. For the sour, the traditional ingredient is tamarind paste. If you don't have that, you could use lemon, or you could also buy one of these sinigang mixes. You also flavor your broth with onion and tomato. For the meat, lots of people like to use ribs or any good fatty pork that's on the bone. For myself, I use a combination of cubed stew pork and side pork or pork belly, something with a bit of fat on it. Now, vegetables. In sinigang, you need 3 types of vegetables. You need a leafy green, you need some beans, and you need a root vegetable. You can also add other vegetables if you have them on hand. Traditionally, you would use pea tips as the leafy vegetable, but we don't often have that where I live, so I use spinach. The best bean to use is a Chinese long bean. These are different, they're harder, they work better in a crock pot. If you don't have these, you could add French beans or other green beans later on in the cooking process. The traditional root vegetable in sinigang is taro root. But if you don't have access to that, you can use what I'm going to use, which is a Chinese radish or a daikon. All right, so let's get going. We'll pop everything into the crock pot, let it stew. I recommend you cook your meat overnight for 6 to 8 hours, and then in the morning, put your vegetables and it'll be ready.
Slice the daikon and the long beans. Add them to a colander to wash. Put the onion and the tomato, followed by the pork belly and the stew pork, into the crock pot. Top with about 2 tablespoons of fish sauce. Cook in the crock pot, covered with water, for 4 hours on high or 6.5 hours on low. After, add the seasoning. Stir in the vegetables, the daikon and the long bean. Cover and cook for another hour. When it's done, give it a good stir, add the spinach on top, and adjust the seasoning. It's ready to serve in about 5 minutes.
So we finished our crock pot sinigang. It's been in the crock pot for 4 hours to cook the broth and the meat, another 1 hour to cook the vegetables, and 5 minutes to finish off with the extra seasoning and spinach. So let's just take a look at see what it looks like here.
It looks like, is it really spinach soup? Yeah.
What do you think about the soup, boys?
Good. Yeah, good. And can you want me that?